I still remember the way she looked at me that evening, her eyes darting around nervously before she finally whispered, "My friends think you're ugly." At first, I just stood there, trying to understand if she was joking. But her silence told me everything. My chest tightened as her words echoed in my mind like an insult carved into stone. I left her apartment that night without saying much. There was no fight, no argument, just a quiet ending to what I thought was love. For days, I couldn't look in the mirror without hearing her voice again. I avoided social media, avoided my friends, and spent most of my time alone, wondering if maybe she was right. Maybe I wasn't good enough for her or anyone. But life has a strange way of turning things around when you least expect it. A week later, my friend Liam, who worked as a photography assistant, called me out of nowhere. His boss's model had cancelled last minute, and they were desperate to finish a campaign shoot. He said they just needed someone with my height and build to stand in so they wouldn't lose the client. I was hesitant at first, thinking I'd just embarrass myself even more. But something inside me whispered to just try. I didn't know that stepping into that studio would change everything I believed about myself. As soon as the photos were posted, her friends began sharing them with heart emojis, calling me their secret celebrity crush. I couldn't believe it. But just as I was starting to enjoy my small taste of fame, I saw her name pop up in my DMs again, and what she said this time completely shocked me. When I saw her name in my DMs, my heart sank for a second. I didn't know what to expect. Was she going to insult me again? Or pretend nothing happened? My hands shook slightly as I opened her message. It simply said, "Hey, can we talk?" I stared at those words, feeling a mix of anger, confusion, and curiosity. After all this time, after everything she said to me, now she wanted to talk? Before I replied, I scrolled through her recent posts. Nothing had really changed in her life. Same group of friends, same parties, same filtered selfies with fake captions about self-love. But now, some of her friends were reposting my modeling photos on their stories, calling me hot, gorgeous, and even their new crush. I wondered if she saw all those posts before messaging me. Maybe she realized she'd lost something valuable, or maybe her ego couldn't handle seeing me celebrated like that. I thought back to the day we met. It was at a campus cafe during finals week. She dropped her notes on the floor, and I helped pick them up. She had smiled at me so brightly that I forgot how tired I was from studying all night. Back then, she made me feel like I was the only person who mattered. But slowly, that warmth turned into cold criticism. She'd tell me to change my hair, wear different shoes, and stand differently in photos so I wouldn't look awkward next to her. I always thought she was just helping me look better. But now I realized she was just making me feel small so she could feel big. As I sat there staring at her message, 100 questions ran through my mind. What did she want from me now? Why was she suddenly acting nice again? Part of me wanted to ignore her forever. But another part of me needed to hear what she had to say. I finally replied to her with a simple, "What do you want to talk about?" It took her only a few seconds to type back, "Can we meet? Please." Her sudden desperation felt strange. She never used to say please. That one word kept repeating in my mind as I thought about meeting her again. I didn't know if I was ready to see her face, but curiosity was burning inside me like wildfire. Later that evening, I found myself sitting alone at a small cafe downtown, the same place we used to come to after her classes. I watched the door every few seconds, feeling my chest tighten each time it opened. When she finally walked in, she looked almost the same, except there was something different in her eyes. She sat down across from me and didn't say anything for a minute. I could see her struggling to find words, and honestly, that made me feel stronger for the first time. I didn't know you'd become this," she said softly, gesturing to my photos on her phone screen. I didn't know if I should laugh or feel insulted. It was as if she couldn't believe I could ever be someone people admired. Before I could reply, she added, "My friends keep asking about you. They're obsessed. They think you're like some celebrity now." Hearing her say that should have felt good, but instead, it made my stomach twist. Was she here because she regretted losing me, or just because her friend's attention towards me was bruising her pride? In that moment, flashes of everything she used to say to me came back. Her voice calling me ugly. Her friends laughing quietly when I walked past them. And now, those same people were reposting my modeling photos with heart emojis and captions like, "My dream guy." It was almost funny how quickly people changed their opinions, but deep down, I knew this was just the start of something bigger, something I wasn't ready for yet. I looked at her sitting there, nervously tapping her nails on the table, her eyes darting around like she was scared someone would see us together. It reminded me of how she used to act when we dated, always careful about what her friends would think. I leaned back and asked her straight, "Why are you really here?" She took a deep breath and said, "Because I think I made a mistake. I didn't mean what I said back then." I was just embarrassed. Her words felt empty. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't ignore the way her eyes flickered with jealousy every time she mentioned her friends reposting my photos. Embarrassed of what? That your friends didn't think I was good enough for you? I asked, my voice calm but cold. She didn't reply immediately. Instead, she wiped the corner of her eyes and whispered, "I thought they'd respect me more if I was with someone they liked too." Hearing her admit that made something inside me break. All those moments of doubt and pain, all because she cared more about their approval than my feelings. My phone buzzed on the table just then. It was Liam texting me about an urgent modeling call for a famous clothing brand. My chest tightened with excitement, but I quickly locked the screen, not wanting her to see it. She noticed anyway. "Is that another shoot? You're really doing well now," she said, her voice trembling with forced sweetness. I could see her trying to smile, but her eyes were filled with a mix of regret and bitterness. She reached out across the table and gently touched my hand. "Can we start again?" she asked softly. For a moment, everything went silent in my mind. My heartbeat pounded in my ears as I looked at her, wondering if I'd ever be foolish enough to trust her again. But before I could answer, Liam called, and what he said next changed everything in ways I never imagined. I quickly excused myself and walked outside to take Liam's call. My heart was racing, wondering what could be so urgent. As soon as I picked up, his excited voice burst through the speaker. "Dude, guess what? The brand loved your portfolio. They want you as the face of their new international campaign. You're flying to Paris next week." For a second, I couldn't breathe. Paris. International campaign. Just a month ago, I was sitting alone in my room feeling worthless, and now I was being offered something that felt like a dream. "Are you serious?" I whispered, my voice shaking with disbelief. Liam laughed. "Dead serious. They said your look is exactly what they want. This is huge, man. You're about to blow up everywhere." As I ended the call, I stood there in the summer breeze, my hands trembling from the adrenaline rushing through me. I looked back through the cafe window and saw her watching me, her expression unreadable. I walked back inside, feeling like I was carrying a secret too big for this small place. She smiled weakly when I sat down. "Everything okay?" she asked, trying to sound casual. I nodded. "Yeah. Just some work stuff." Then she leaned in closer, lowering her voice. "Listen. I've been thinking. You're doing so well now. Maybe I could come with you to your shoots? I could help you network. My cousin works in PR, and I could, support you." Her words dripped with sweetness, but there was a sharpness hidden underneath. That's when it hit me. She didn't come back because she missed me. She came back because she saw an opportunity. My chest tightened with anger, but before I could say anything, her phone buzzed with a message. She glanced at it, and her eyes widened with panic before she quickly flipped it face down. I couldn't help but wonder, what was she hiding from me now? I looked at her carefully, noticing how her fingers shook slightly as she pushed her phone deeper into her bag. My curiosity got the better of me. "Who was that?" I asked calmly. She forced a smile and shook her head. No one important, she said, but her eyes told a different story. Before I could ask again, her phone buzzed once more. This time, the screen lit up, and I caught a glimpse of the name, Mark. Can't wait to see you tonight, Redheart. My chest tightened, but instead of feeling hurt, I felt a strange sense of relief. It all made sense now. She hadn't changed at all. She was still playing games, trying to keep her options open. I took a deep breath and looked her straight in the eyes. I think you should go, I said quietly. Her smile faded. What? Why? Did I do something wrong? She asked, her voice trembling. I leaned forward slightly. You're here because you thought I was a nobody before. Now that people admire me, you're trying to come back. But I'm not the same person you left crying in his room. I don't need you to validate me anymore. Her eyes widened as tears pooled in them, but I stood up, leaving her sitting there stunned. As I walked out of the cafe, my phone buzzed again. It was Liam, sending me my flight details for Paris. I smiled to myself, feeling a weight lift off my chest. But just as I was about to cross the street, another message popped up. This time it was from an unknown number. Congratulations on Paris. We've been watching you. Call us back, Hollywood Talent Group. My breath caught in my throat. Hollywood? That was bigger than anything I'd ever imagined. In that moment, I realized this wasn't just an ending. It was the beginning of something far greater than I'd ever dreamed. I stood there frozen, staring at the message from Hollywood Talent Group. For a moment, I wondered if it was real or just some prank. But as I reread the number and the name, my heart raced faster with excitement and fear mixed together. I quickly called Liam and told him about it. He almost screamed on the phone. Man, this is insane! They're huge. You have to call them back right now. I took a deep breath and dialed the number. My hands were sweating as it rang. A calm female voice answered. Hello, is this Aaron? I swallowed hard and replied. Yes, this is Aaron. She continued. We've been following your recent shoots. One of our directors saw your portfolio and thinks you're perfect for an upcoming film project. We want to schedule a meeting next week in Los Angeles. Hearing those words felt unreal. A film project? Me? I could barely believe that just weeks ago, someone I loved told me I was ugly, and now, a Hollywood agency wanted to meet me. After ending the call, I stood there on the street, feeling the evening breeze on my face, thinking about everything that had happened. All the pain, the rejection, the silent nights where I wondered if I'd ever be enough. It all felt worth it now. Later that night, as I packed my bags for Paris, her message popped up again on my phone. Please, can we meet one last time before you leave? I read it and smiled softly to myself before turning my phone off. There was nothing left to say to her. She had been my biggest heartbreak, but also the push that led me to discover my worth without needing anyone's approval. The next morning, as I sat on the plane watching the sun rise above the clouds, I felt a deep peace within me. Life had shown me that people's opinions change like the wind, but your value remains if you keep working on yourself. As the engines roared louder and the plane took off, I closed my eyes and whispered a silent thank you, not to her, but to the universe, for reminding me that sometimes rejection is just a redirection towards something far greater than you ever imagined.